ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तपोभिक्षीण पापानां शान्तानां वीतरागिणां मुमुक्षूणामपेक्षोऽयं तत्त्वबोधो आत्मबोधो विधीयते। पेज नंबर 90, श्लोका नंबर 34। निर्गुणो निष्क्रियो नित्यः निर्विकल्पो निरञ्जनः निर्विकारो निराकारः नित्यमुक्तोऽस्मि निर्मलः। From here starts the nididhyasana process. Shravana, manana, nididhyasana. Through the Shravana, the purpose of Shravana is akhanda Jnana-bodha. So the avidya is removed, and the Atma Swarupa is established. So Jnana Prapti is Shravana purpose. And as soon as Jnana Prapti, Praptasya Prapti is ascertained, moksha is ascertained. Shravanat jnanam, jnanat evatu kaivalyam. But then, that is for the uttamottama adhikari. What about the rest of us? We are not left high and dry. We have been given the opportunity in the next two processes. Manana, sandeha nivritti. When I hear what I hear through the Vedantic texts, as I process those Vedantic declarations, I have various sets of experiences which contradict that which the scripture is saying. Last time the example that I had taken was the Vedantic scriptures, the Upanishads declare very clearly that Paramatma is nirvikārah, sarvagnya, sarvavyapi, sarvantaryami, whereas my experience has been very vivid. As soon as I hear that my Atma Swarupa is nirvikāro, I feel a sense of tickling. Why? I am nothing but vikara. What is this scripture claiming? It says it is nirvikāro. I am only vikaravan. Not vikarabad, vikaravan. It says sarvagnya. Yes, I would love to be known as a sarvagnya, but then I know that my knowing process is very, very limited. Gurudev used to have his own way of saying it. We say we have become researchers, and research means knowing more and more about less and less. Earlier the research was about the entire body. Knowing it, they were given after four years, right? 4 years they would be given MBBS certificate. Now then there has to be specialization, because earlier there was a whole hospital known as ENT. Koti ke paas hai wo? Haan. I'm just trying to remember from my old days. Ear, nose, throat specialist. Now you go, they say that nose specialist is different, throat specialist is different, ear specialist is different. Probably in future, if you have a ear problem and you go to a doctor, I think we should open a ear specialist right outside our thing. We'll have a lot of patients from here. They said, where exactly is your problem? Left ear. No, I am a right ear specialist. Go to the left ear in the next door. Research, meaning knowing more and more about less and less. But whatever I know is still limited. There are certain later stage situations wherein the brain stops functioning. Very well read, very well known, very much an expert in certain fields, but then there are those situations. Or you fall, just one step and you slipped, and as you slipped, something hit. And all that which you remembered is the jnana that we claim, right? Pichik, in moment gone. Sometimes they don't even remember who they are. Sarvajñatva. I feel I am very limited. Sarvavyapi. So if you look at X and Y axis, up until certain age, we grow on the Y axis. After that, we grow on the X axis. And then the Z axis, we become complete. Purna. That is the maximum that I can expand. 6 feet, maybe 6 feet by 3 feet, 4 feet, done. That is the most that I can expand. There is a sarvavyapi. There is nothing that which is not touched by that Parabrahma Swarupa. So these kinds of confusions that are there, because I feel I am limited, my experience says so, but the scriptures are pointing at something else. Therefore, thorough manana has to be done. Till what time? Until that knowledge becomes owned by me, by my own anubhava, and the anubhava is aparokshanubhuti. Until then, manana has to be done. Shravana for jnana, manana for sandeha nivritti. Then there is something called viparyaya. Viparyaya meaning wrong, erroneous, habitual perception. And because of this wrong, erroneous perception, the habit is so deep. The last time the example that I gave was our travel to Siddho. If you remember the example, there was a train called, I don't know if it is still there, it was called Himsagar Express. From here to there. So we would board it here and get down near Pathankot. About 2 days, 3 nights journey. Chekki Bank. And after we get down at Pathankot, get into the bus or a car, even after knowing very clearly that I have stepped out of the train, because of that intimate experience of being in that vehicle called a train, there is that movement that my body has acclimatized to. I know I am not in the train. I know the vehicle that I have boarded is a bus and the bus is going on the curvy roads. That impact can also be seen because by mistake if I have eaten something, you will have the proof. Because your stomach starts churning and you start throwing up. That effect also is seen. And yet, for at least a couple of hours, that sensation, that as though you are, because of the effect of that Himsagar Express. When a ordinary train experience can leave that kind of a psychological imprint, that as if I am still moving, the movement is still continued just because of 2 days, 3 nights effect. Imagine being in this body, mind and intellect, deha after deha, life after life, continuously my experience psychologically that has been recorded is limitations and nothing but limitations. A very deep experience that I am limited. So that viparya, the naisargika dosha, like you are habituated in your home, in your bedroom, that you have a nightstand, as soon as you wake up you turn it on. That has been your habit day in and day out. You go to a new place. As soon as you wake up, you try for your nightstand, habitual error. Then realize, oh, I am in a different place. This has a different setting. But that initial is that error which has been there habitually. Even in Vyavahara, see, most of the Mahabharata that happens in our day-to-day life is not on principles. There is nothing much to argue about in principles, values to be translated into virtues. It's black and white. Either you have it or you don't have it. There is no argument there. It is in the opinions. I read somewhere very beautiful, and that has been like my marker in my life, which has guided me. In matters of opinion, flow like water. No resistance. There are millions of heads, there will be billions of opinions. ये ऐसा ही ठीक है, ये ऐसा नहीं है, ठीक है. क्या स्वामी जी, उनको भी ठीक बोलते हो, इनको भी ठीक बोलते हो? तो ओपिनियन है. Everybody is entitled for their opinions. In matters of opinion, flow like water. In matters of principle, stand firm like a rock. We almost do that, exactly. In matters of opinion, we stand like a rock, and in matters of principle, chalta hai. And in today's definition of smartness is to understand how to be malleable with regards to principles. I have had people who bring their children to me saying, Swamiji, very naive fellow, vyavaharame telidu, koncham nedpichandi. What do you want me to do? To topple the entire value system? And कहाँ पे अड़ जाते हैं हम लोग? Opinions. The other person also has to, whether it is husband, whether it is wife, whether it is committee member, whether it is brahmachari, whether it is Swami, whoever we are, wherever we are positioned, the clash is always, just now realized, clash leads to clash. The clash is always about these opinions, petty opinions. See, I have been interacting with a certain environment of people, whether in family or outside or friends. For 15, 20, 30, 40 years I have been interacting with the same fellows. We know them inside out. And yet, where is our maximum klesha from? The people that I claim that I love. मेरी बात ही नहीं मानते. I mean, have they ever? And you know that they are not. We need to have a sturdier platform from where we can evaluate. That is why there is a discrepancy in what we hear in the scriptural statements and my anubhava, and there is a constant friction in that. Therefore, nididhyasana, to remove this viparyaya dosha, habitual error that I keep committing. The moment I step out from here, without even doing japa, without meditating on it, dehoham, emotional oham, hungry oham, if food is not given in time, angry oham, everything just envelops. Very profoundly it envelops that which is completely contradicting to what I hear. So, if that error, deep-seated one, that vritti has to be removed, aham brahmāsmi has to be a vasana that has to be inculcated with equal force. If not equal, a little more than to remove, wipe out the earlier pattern. Therefore, nididhyasana has to be done. Nididhyasana is not for realization. Realization should happen in Shravana itself. That jnana, as soon as it clicks, happens. In spite of that jnana happening, we still are stuck because of this viparyaya dosha. So, Swamiji, then they use the word samadhi, and what is that then? Though it is not a point of our discussion right now, but I will touch upon that also, just so that there is no confusion. By definition, Atma Chaitanya is defined as Sat Chit Ananda. The reason we are asked to acquire the habit of sitting and abiding in samadhi is so that Ananda Swarupa is experienced at a personal, subjective level. That happens in that state of samadhi, for which I should have already realized. But we want to follow the Western mindset of fake it till you make it. बैठ जाते हैं बस, कभी ना कभी तो आ ही जाएगा. It is not a mistake to happen. Or it is not a miracle or a magic that suddenly it happens. It is an abhyasa. The word abhyasa means repetitiveness in its practice. Hope I am clear with the vocabulary that is being used in Vedanta. Because very loosely we use it. After getting into the field of Vedanta, especially to the scriptural vocabulary, we cannot be flippant. Because there are others also who use these words with their own meaning. That meaning and this meaning may not be the same. May not be kya, it is not the same. Because we have this kida, a bug inside. We start seeing the commonality and say both are looking same. I mean, looking same and being same are two different things. And this bug bugs us from they say all paths lead to the same. Heck no. It looks common, no? It is like saying that you also drive a car, I also drive a car, my car also has four wheels, your car also has four wheels, it also has a steering, it also has a both need a fuel. सब कुछ ठीक है. Which direction are you taking that vehicle to? What is the end point? Every month I have to drive to Vijayawada. Vijayawada is what direction from here? East. And you are going towards Vikarabad. It is exactly opposite. But everything looks common. You also drive on a road, I also drive on a same pinch. This commonality nonsense has to be stopped. It may look common, it may look similar. What is the end point? One is talking about you yourself being that Atma Swarupa, the other says something else. Shouldn't that be the focal point to see if that is common? And then they say, Ekam Sat Vipra Bahudha Vadanti. If it is Sat, and that Sat is experienced in different ways, that can be okay. But if it is not even Sat, but everything else looks similar, how can it be the same? Am I getting across? Rest of Vyavahara fooling around is fine. In Vedanta, these terms, these particular definitions have to be understood very clearly, not flippantly used. Therefore, last lecture also I went through what nididhyasana means and why we should be very particularly careful about it. And today also I almost spent about 25 minutes only on understanding that. Once the purpose of nididhyasana is understood, it is a very sincere effort to do the abhyasa of those pointers which are talking about, which are being pointed by the Shruti as Parabrahmat Swarupa Lakshana. And that Swarupa Lakshana happens to be my real true nature. But then my viparyaya are specific. One size fits all cannot be done. So the Shruti gives us varied aspects. Whatever has to be fitting me, I have to be careful enough in picking what nididhyasana should I focus upon. Hopefully I am getting across. You go to a clothes store. See, if it is the Indian attire, कोई problem ही नहीं है. Because one size literally fits all. Sadi, however be the circumference, it will fit. Lungi or dhoti, whatever be the circumference, it will fit. But the rest of it, whether it is chudidar, whether it is pants, whether it is shirt, you have to take few samples, go inside, what do you call that? Trial room and try out. Once the size you know, then you can go through that size, that make, and choose about your color, preference, whatever, done. Similarly, here in Nididhyasana, it's like a supermarket of understanding that Parabrahma Tattva and its Swarupa Lakshana. Which one of it should I apply? Application depends on what my viparyaya is. We chant Taponishatkam, right? Vyaptam jagadyena chidatmabhava. All of them, the first three lines in each shloka are Upanishadic statements. Those Upanishadic statements have to be now matched. What is my viparyaya? How much ever I listen, why does it feel that I don't get the concept? Why don't I feel that I am experiencing that concept? Tejomayam. It comes in the last shloka. Find the match and start contemplating on it. So here the contemplation begins. Nirguṇah. Nirguṇah, we are all guni. We are all stuck in our guna. 5 minutes of how much time I spend on the bed makes the difference early morning. If I wake up a little late, I wake up groggy. If I wake up a little early, I wake up groggy. Like tamasic. Sometimes sattvic. Everything looks fresh. Everything looks beautiful. Ah, why? By mistake we woke up in a sattvic mode. By mistake, if my lecture exceeds 7:30, how do I know that it is 7:30? People looking at the watch, looking at me, and again looking at the watch, subtly telling me. As it increases, the number of people looking at the watch, there are some who 15 minutes before itself they'll start doing it. अभी से बता देते हैं. Why? Rajas is taking over. Constantly fluctuating between gunas. And this is our experience. So what should be the application? The application is that Parabrahma Swarupa Lakshana is nirguṇah. Gunas oscillate through the layers of matter called antakarana. I am the one who is witnessing it, observing it, and I am nirguṇah. Nirguṇah, gunatitaḥ. All of these words mean the same. Guna means attributes. Gunavan is like masala chai. Nirguna is like green tea. Gurudev used to call it hot water boiled and spoiled to be called tea. All our addictions are in gunas only. Early morning, if I wake up, and after I wake up, if I don't get my cup of hot beverage, we not only get headache, we become headache for others also. Oh yo, वो चाय नहीं मिला ना यारो तो खराब हो जाएगा दिन पूरा. Early morning. We get disturbed. Paper नहीं आया. Even ashram they come. Swami, paper untunda. Coming just now from US, I said, "Mem neelu vaadtamandi. We use water. We don't use paper." No, go figure. ఆ పేపర్ కాదండి, న్యూస్ పేపర్. చెప్పాలిగా క్లియర్గా. Early morning, if that newspaper is not, there is something happening. We get into those comfort zones of our own gunas, and if that is not repeated, my day is wasted. My day is gone. See, if that is where I am, And this is the pointer where I have to be. What are all the layers where I am fixed to? First we have to identify them clearly, right? At physical level, sattvic, tamasic, rajasic. At emotional level, sattvic, rajasic, tamasic. At buddhi level, sattvic, rajasic, tamasic. At vyavahara level, sattvic, rajasic, tamasic. Where am I caught up in? And there is nothing that will just, unplug it. Each one, it's like, when you go to the market, you buy and it is put in a plastic cover. Later you only have to open it. So when you are putting that knot, people put a knot which is like, when you come back, it is frustrating. Why? It doesn't open up. Then instead of opening it up, it's a cheer phad. While you are putting it itself, if you had put it in a proper knot, wherein after you come, you just do this and it is done. Nahin, हमको ऐसे ही करना है. Similarly, inside, there are so many such knots. Granthayaha, granthi. We are clinging onto it. So bad is the cling that a little string pulled, entire edifice falls. A little thing, it can shake us up. See, when we were in the ashram, there was a guest student, elderly person, retired, Mr. Palji. His name was Dharmapal, but having stayed in Canada for many years, he used to call himself Mr. Paul. And he was a perfectionist. Every day after Narayana Seva, in the afternoon we come and we are given some fruits, but those fruits we have to cut. Therefore, we would always pray that it would be something simple and easy like banana. Koi janjat nahi. Easy peasy. Or grapes. Dho, thamado, done. Sometimes pomegranate, mango, you have to open everything, and so we used to say 3 kinds of useless things. One is fruit. It wastes your time. Lawn mowing. You grow the grass and then cut it every day. And then PhD. करते जाओ. But pretty soon we realized, take the entire bunch of fruit, sit in front of Dharmapalji. So if it is an apple that has to be cut, if it is whatever it is to be cut so that it is distributed to all brahmacharis equally, I would sit and haphazardly cut it. He would be drinking his tea, but then you have gotten under his skin when he starts doing this. I said, "Hato tum log." And he would take the entire thing and meticulously cut it. हमको भी वही चाहिए, करो. One little thing and you can pull that string and entire thing topples. So कितने सारे ऐसे गांठ बंधे हुए हैं. All because of these gunas and our feel-good factor of addiction and attachment towards that. That we crave for it. I am changing the words. We have heard the word desire, desire, desire for a long time. Now I have put the word crave for it. That it unsettles us, disturbs us. It doesn't leave us with peace until that which I am habituated to. First thing is recognizing it. If you have children around, grandchildren around, they are the best ones. They have already scanned you inside out. They will do things only to irritate you. Wherever the irritation is growing, understand, ek aur gaant mil gaya. They push your buttons. Wherever you feel that push that leads to these irritable patterns, understand you have recognized one more pattern. Now you have to start working on it. Why? I am nirguṇah. But any one of these little minuscule changes seems to be disturbing me. We carry ourselves as though we are pahalwan. But then a small little thing can topple the whole thing down. Because caught up in the web of gunas. Therefore, the contemplation should be on nirgunatva. Nirguṇah, niṣkriyo. I think Adi Shankaracharya ji picked up all these words because majority of us are stuck in these things. That is when the utility of this contemplation. We cannot sit quiet. In modern day language, it is called ADD or ADHD. Attention deficit disorder or attention deficit hyper disorder. I like the word there, hyper. Constantly कुछ ना कुछ किच 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 करते रहना चाहिए. Supposing we get those 5-10 minutes of gap wherein there is nothing to be done. Cannot sit quiet. Something or the other has to be constantly. Either I have to be busy doing something or busy sleeping. Sitting quiet is not a habit. Every day, morning and evening, with your eyes open, with your eyes closed, doesn't matter. Sit without any movement, whether it is with closed eyes or open eyes. Think nothing, do nothing, just be for those 5 minutes. Immediately our mind will ask, doing what? Doing nothing. Maybe, I should start observing breath or something. Nothing. Just sit. That quietude is not a practice. We are scared of that quietude. Therefore, music bajao or कॉल करो, भाई ऐसी, भाई I had nothing else to do. What if you had nothing else to do? The others also have to comply to that. There's this itch, eczema. That is the right word. शांत बैठने नहीं देता, खुजला खुजला के मारता है. There is that internal eczema, that kujli. If not anything else, at least constantly doing something or the other. Why? That's why there are now today there are gadgets that are being sold that are called fidgets. कर क्या रहे हो? कुछ तो करना है. If nothing else, you know that kit pens, करते रहेंगे. Keep quiet. How much we are away from the core of our own being, that even to sit quiet for 5 minutes is an impossibility. Therefore, what should be meditated upon, what should be contemplated intensely? Niṣkriyo, nirguṇo, niṣkriyo, nityo. 100% of our brain space, mind space, is occupied by everything that which is temporary in nature. Therefore, our ancient ones, the wise ones, the Rishi Muni, they said, at least twice a day, make it a habit to be in association with that which is constant, unchanging. That you sit down, that is the morning routine should be, do your yogasana, then do your pranayama, then do your puja, then do your japa, then sit quietly. Evening, repeat. Do your yoga, do your pranayama, do your puja, do your japa, sit quietly. In touch with that constant within. Imagine, whenever we are in front of the altar, whenever we are in front of the Bhagavat Swarupa, as soon as we come to that presence, what do? We immediately close our eyes. When you see a grandeur, say a beautiful sunrise, beautiful sunset, a nice scenic presence, there also, after you have basked, you have seen, close your eyes. Do you know why it happens? Before I tell you why, imagine you go all the way to Tirupati. I am not taking any other temple as an example, Tirupati specifically. You stand in the line. Even those special tickets, and you are in the line. how much time do you get in front of Bhagavan? A second or less than that. In that little brief moment of being in presence of Bhagavan, as soon as we have seen, what do we do? Close it. अरे आंखें ही बंद करना तो कहीं पे भी कर लो यार. You go all the way to the tapas of reaching there. To do what? Close your eyes. Why is it an inherent thing that the moment we get in front of that presence, we close our eyes? Because that externality is a mirror which is pointing us towards the core within. And to stabilize ourselves for that brief moment to the core within, all the externalities are cut. That is called the abhyasa about nitya. That after having done the puja with different samagri, therefore don't do that puja in a haphazard manner. It has to be nicely, beautifully arranged. See, when you take shower and stand in front of the mirror, do you put your chandan kumkum tika somewhere here? Somewhere covering your eyes? No, nicely. Each one has their own specificity of their size. ఇంత పెద్దగా పెట్టుకుంటేనే అందంగా ఉంటుంది, ఇంత చిన్నగా పెట్టుకుంటేనే అందంగా ఉంటుంది. And that also has to be in a certain sequence. This color under this color, in this color, they have to go matching, and that sequence. Oh, for the self, it is so beautifully organized. Bhagavan, if you take a blob of chandan, pachak, పేడ కొడుతున్నారా? అలంకారంగా చేసేది. It is smeared all across the face. Why would you do that? Another second of patient application. Nicely, beautifully, and then organize the flowers. Neatly bundled your hair. On that you have one sequence of color of flowers, and then on the top there is one more, and then you turn around and look, is it looking synchronizedly beautiful? Bhagavan, Om Ajaya Namaha, Om Avyaya Namaha, Avinashine Namaha. युद्ध नहीं कर रहे हो. Nicely organized, beautiful color patterns. That when it is all done, the vastra is done, the abhushan alankara is done, the flowers are done, the alankara is done, the light is lit, the agarbatti or that effervescence is lit, and beautifully organized, that you sit, your mind now focuses so that you are connected to that nitya vastu. That there is some quietude that it draws within. It is not one of the many activities that I am doing, therefore it has also, that is how it ends up being. Because whatever reason I have woken up late, or somebody else has a early morning thing, but I have this habit of doing this, therefore kachakach pachapach has to be done. It feels like somebody is doing yuddha. Whether it is, these aspects that have to be disciplinedly inculcated, that there is a nityatva of its repeatability, that there is yogasana, then there is pranayama, then there is puja, then there is japa, then it all should converge into that quietude within. If you looked at it, the sequence is from the grossest that you are bringing your mind to the subtlest. And then still in that stillness within. That habit of getting to that nitya vastu has to be inculcated. That once I am stabilized in that nitya vastu, that quietude within, then the mind is now linked to that nityatva. The buddhi is now linked to that nityatva. Vyavahara is linked to that nityatva. There is stability in life as you move through the day. Start with chaos, giving more than what we take, producing more than what we consume. What? That is very, very important. Giving more than what we can take. Confusions. Producing more chaos than what we can consume. Because that is how we started. There is no nityatva, there is no stability inside. And that is what I go spread around. So what should be the constant contemplation habit? To break the habit of anityatva and being stifled by our association with the anityatva is a consistent practice of being in touch with that nitya vastu, both the beginning and the end of the day. Then develop a habit that whenever a new activity is beginning, start, refocus, come back to that nitya vastu. From there you start again. Therefore, the habitual practice that was inculcated in us, as soon as we are to step out, right at the threshold there will be one Bhagavan. You look at that Bhagavan. Do the short nama japa or whatever, and then step out. Vehicle, car, or you have taken a paper to write down. What do we start? On the top of the paper, Om, Shri. Why that habit? So that it reminds us to connect back to that nitya vastu within. Constantly make that a habit. That the clarity is so well established that you constantly, wherever vyavahara happening, you turn your attention to that nitya vastu within. Established in that, rooted in that, then go act in the world. There is such joy in that, even in that interaction then. Nirguṇo, niṣkriyo, nityaha, nirvikalpo, niraṃjanaḥ. Vikalpa, constantly looking for alternatives. In today's world or vocabulary, it is called jugadu mindset. Constantly looking for alternatives. Idi kaakapote, adi kaakapote, adi kaakapote. Constantly consumed. Never ready, never prepared to accept as life is unfolding. Even before it unfolds, We are already in our vikalpa ruining, contaminating that which is unfolding. It is like a batsman swinging the bat even before the ball has arrived. बॉल अभी आया नहीं है, वो घुमा के मार रहा है. किसको मार रहा है? हवा को. What do you call such batsmen? There are several names. They are usually the tailenders. And usually they are the bowlers. They know the whole process of that ball. But when you give them a bat to face such balls, even before the experience Vyavahara has unfolded, we have already contaminated it, corrupted it by our prejudices of vikalpa and smeared it. Our prejudices are so strong, so judgmental. ऐसा ऐसे ही करेंगा. Benefit of doubt we have stopped giving it. If you are the smarter one, you are the intelligent one, you are the spiritual one, shouldn't you give the opportunity to others to at least unfold? Even before that whole experience has unfolded, I have already judged it, executed it also. See, processing has to be done in such a way wherein first accept as it is happening. Don't revolt. However gambhira the situation be, accept it first. Then don't judge it. Analyze it for whatever it is worth. After the analysis, still don't judge it. Check that it is now your experience. How well can you adapt to it to do the justice to that experience? And then bring your earlier experiences in the light of that experience, evaluate it. Then decide, act upon it. But instead, as soon as you see it starts with a revolt, it starts with a reaction, it starts with a rejection. It's like the kids. Fir wahi dal. The same experience again. We take that kind of a mindset towards everything in the world. Because that mind is now constantly in the vikalpa. And that has been our experience constantly. Therefore, we can never sit in quietude. Therefore, we are away from our core of our existence. Therefore, the practice should be, I am niṣkriyo. Nirvikalpo. Niraṃjanaḥ. Niraṃjanaḥ. Try to bring purity in thought, word, deed. The greatest mala is avidya. The starting point itself is the greatest mala. On that, however much you do alankara, it is mala only. There is no good mala, bad mala. Either there is mala or there is nirmala, niranjana. Anjana means dirt. Masi. Telugulo. And that is what is anjana, which is used as kajal, kataka. So constantly smearing the world around with our prejudices, because it is born from avidya. And then try to beautify that mala to feel good. Remember the example of Puja Gurudev, where Tapon Maharaj blamed him for tearing his dhoti and called him a liar. And Swamiji was super agitated. Only later to realize that the message that was given, that the starting point itself is a lie. I being the jiva is the biggest lie, biggest anjana, biggest dirt. On that now you want to carry forward as the most royal, virtuous. Baseline galat hai. If the foundation is wrong, the wall is all leaning like competing with Leaning Tower of Pisa, and then you want to decorate that wall. आज टूटेगा कल टूटेगा किसको पता? The entire edifice that we have built is on that mala. That I am this limited. किसका श्रृंगार कर रहे हो? And then we carry that ego. I am better than the rest of them. भाड़ में गया. The starting point itself is wrong. And then the ahamākāra to carry it saying, I am better than the rest of them. Therefore I am good. Isn't that where we end up doing all our politics in? Trying to say I am better virtuous than the other. It is starting from avidya. How much more mala can you try to cover up? Am I getting across? Very poignant pointers that are given. We'll continue tomorrow. Thank you for your patience and not looking at your watches. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayah Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityor Ma Amritangamaya Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namah Harihi Om